Yes.
When you, I'm sorry, are you asking?
No, go ahead.
Hey, Billy, can you speak up a little bit closer?
Sure.
So we know that
We good?
there's kind of, right, I mean, that in a 12-game regular season, it's not just a straight line. There's ups and downs and emotional things, whatever I would assume. When you guys give so much that you gave in the Penn State game, how can you give that much at Iowa this week?
Well, I mean, obviously after a huge emotional game, and I'd like to actually say that this was probably one of the first games in a long stretch of games that we actually play. Offensive line, speaking on our behalf, we played 4 quarters and we had to give everything. Everything that we do in our training in the off season was put out for that game itself. So to come back in the second week and make sure that there's no drop off of attention, and that really comes down to practice, making sure that things go well. There's a lot of attention to detail and not kind of going through the motions. So there's a lot of attention, a lot of making sure that you're finishing plays, making sure that your technique's right, your hand placement's right, your footwork's right, and making sure that guys are taking care of their bodies. Because again, after playing 90 plays as the offensive line, it takes a lot out of you. So just to make sure that your body's recovering, doing everything you need to make sure you're getting the nutrients, especially as it's starting to get colder. Guys are getting sick, your girlfriends or whatever, whoever's around you starting to get sick. Just making sure you take care of your body. And so that's probably the biggest thing for right now for us.
It seemed like maybe there were guys, I don't know, I saw photos, multiple guys like with tears in their eyes, like on the sideline or after the game. Were guys like emotionally wrung out? When you go that hard physically and then you pull out a win like that, does it?
Yeah, I think that goes
to
show. I mean, the brotherhood that we have in this locker room right now. The camaraderie, the love for one another itself, and to make sure you go out there and you put everything out there. A guy like Isaiah Princeton, his iconic picture with Jamarco right now, the guy who didn't play well against last year against Penn State, to come and to see the progress that he's made up until this point, and the progress that he's going to continue to make the rest of the season, it's huge. And so it was just he was taken over by emotion, and there's a lot of positive things with that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you see, brothers together, celebrating that, putting that emotion out there that you don't really see it oftentimes. So, I mean, there's a lot for us, a lot of emotional stuff. But again, we enjoy the win. Got back in on Tuesday, went back to work, and the next mission is to beat Iowa.
Well, you gave some of those passionate speeches to us and others about sticking with JT and how the locker room was behind him. Mm-hmm. Do you want to do the same thing and speak up for him as a Heisman candidate? Is that something that's interesting to you?
So the best statement I can say is, the team goes, you go. So making sure that any national award, any type of, in particular the Remington or an Outland or, Big Ten Offensive Line of the Year or Big Ten Defense Line of the Year or Big Ten Running Back, whatever the case is, you see those types of success happen as the team has that same success. So again, the guys going in last year, JT Silver Football winner, or a guy like Pat Elflein, who was the Offensive Lineman of the Year at Big Ten, those awards go with the success of the team. So on the Heisman candidate, just keep putting his production out there, because the numbers don't lie.
Billy, have you seen this new tradition at Iowa this year with the Children's Hospital? What's your initial impression of that? It's kind of like a pretty powerful moment.
Oh, absolutely.
When I watched that, I bawled like a baby.
Yeah, that's just there's a lot of passion and a lot of pride in that program itself, and to have a tradition with that. And I don't know too much about which the hospital is, but I saw, during the Penn State game, having one of the children cancer patients up in one of the, I think it's the top room of a hospital across the street or something from the stadium, and having the entire crowd. I mean, that just goes to show the support that the Iowa, the University of Iowa community has for those kids, for those young children, and to kind of really bring them a part of the program from a distance. So I think it's huge. I think it's awesome, and just something that maybe Ohio State can do something like that in the future.
Well, related to that, some opposing teams have started participating in the wave.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, do you think you guys will get into the first quarter?
I don't know anybody.
Like jump around, but
I don't know anybody in particular. Just because the location of where our hospital is compared to the stadium itself.
No, I mean this Saturday.
Will we participate in that?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. I mean, again, it's not. The game itself is not just football itself. I mean, football is so much bigger, and to have that influence and have that impact that you can have on somebody else. So I don't see why not. I'll give the kid a wave, absolutely. Okay.
Billy, when you guys go on the road a lot of times, sometimes you go in road environments and the fans are like 50-50.
Yeah.
When you go into a game like that and you see that it's almost like a home environment, does that make a difference for a player?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of comfort and a lot of I guess security, you want to call it. I know, playing on the field itself, having our fans there, you don't have to worry about crowd noise. You don't have to worry about some of the stuff that you do in a hostile, if it was a Penn State whiteout. So if given the opportunity, having our fans there, makes it a lot more comfortable for us, and we know what kind of crowd we're used to.
Do you remember a time when you got out of tunnel like I can't believe how much red is out there?
Yeah, Rutgers in the past years. So in particular that Maryland, same case. So it just depends on the stadium, depends on the fans, and like Nebraska, it was all Nebraska fans. So just every stadium is different.
Really, how aware are you of a guy like Josey Jewell, their middle linebacker, and when you have a guy like that, do you have to be more aware of him, especially as an offensive lineman when you climb to the second level?
So I'm kind of going back to what last week we talked about Jason Kapendis with Penn State. Yeah, you're aware of the player and his capabilities itself, but you're not going to isolate a player and say, hey, we have to run away from this guy. You go in as an offensive preparer, you go out there, try to execute at a high level, and just put a man on a man and go block him. So I know he's a spectacular athlete out there. A lot of preseason recognition, a lot of midseason recognition. Just again, go out there, execute, put a man on a man, and that's all you can ask for.
Do their defensive tackles do anything unique from like a technique standpoint?
Yeah, they twist a lot. So I think it's just going to making sure that we can bump off twists and making sure that we again put a man on a man, execute, and just go out there and have some fun.
I mean, is that kind of interesting? You got a little chess match that you guys have with different defensive styles that you see from week to week.
Yeah, I mean, to keep it simple though, again, you just put a man on a man because that's really all that matters. Because no matter what, again, Penn State brought all kinds of different blitzes. If you put a man on a man, you block the guy, and everything else is good for us.
Do you feel like Iowa that they're pretty much known as a team that does what they do? That maybe you don't have to worry so much about somebody throwing something totally different, out of the ordinary at you, like some of these other teams?
Yeah, they stick to it too, which is kind of cool. I mean, it makes it easier for an offense. You don't have to worry about the 6 or 7 different blitz looks, but just again, if they're big dudes up front, and they get a lot of penetration. So again, just like last week, if you stop their vertical penetration and put a man on a man, just go out there, attack, and be aggressive, and that's our game plan.
Last question.
Have you seen some of the ways that you guys have tweaked and adjusted the offense since the beginning of the season? I mean, are you getting different looks from teams maybe than you were in the first half of the season?
I don't know necessarily if that'd be a fair question from offensive linemen. I would say in particular having the secondary guys or receivers, the coverage has changed a little bit, making sure the pressing coverage a little bit on the outside. Inside, making sure guys are blitzing. They're blitzing a little bit more, so putting seven guys in the box. But outside of that, not too much.
So you don't have to worry about the guys you're just worrying about what's happening in the box anyway.
Yeah. Just make sure to take care of those guys in front of me and call it a day.
Thanks, Billy.